Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today, before we get into the War Thunder news item on the Fritz-X, we have two pieces of news. The first one is we are doing two giveaways on the Discord server. One is for the SDKFC pack that you will find on Humble Bundle. You get a premium little German, I suppose you'd call it tank, which has a 20mm on top of it. You also get 500 GE and 7 days of premium. We're giving away that on the Discord server. There is a link in the description for us. The second giveaway is also for a game called the Dungeon of the Endless. It is a fun, I suppose you'd call it roguelike RTS kind of deal. But if you want to have a look at it, it's on Steam. So if you want to join those giveaways, what you have to do is just go on the Discord server and follow the bot's commands in the giveaway section, and you'll be able to pick those up for yourself. The SDKFC is only for War Thunder PC, Linux, and Mac users. Unfortunately, it is not available for PS4 lads, but hopefully in the future it will. Also, the reason why I'm wearing the glasses, my head is splitting. Next piece of news. We have confirmation from Pacifica. Okay guys, final answer. Issue has been fixed now. It was in the wrong part of the patch notes. The bug itself was a bug and a known issue, and only affected the dev server, should not be seen on the live server. So what's that talking about? It's talking about the gun shaking that was on about in a few of the other videos. It was listed in the preliminary patch notes at the top as a major change, as something which was going to come to the game and pretty much screw up anything which was on any angle. Luckily, it seems like they've actually talked to somebody after a week and decided that it's in the wrong sector. So, there you go. It is now a known bug instead of a feature. So hopefully it won't be coming to live. I'm guessing they left it where it was until they fixed it in the game, as they normally do that stuff. Also, I'm uploading a video right now, so have fun with whatever that is. And let's get on to the Fritz-X guided bomb. So this was available on the dev server, and one of the interesting things is that it was available for the HE177. Now, the reason why this is a bit odd is the fact that whenever I've done any research or historical looking into the Fritz-X, including books and including on the internet, what I found is that it was mainly used on the Heinkels, the HE111s, and also the DO217s, the K versions of them. Now, the HE177, from what I've read, it did, or at least had the ability to carry them, and it may have seen limited use. But the key word there is may, whereas in game what we're getting is 3 Fritz-X bombs on a HE177. Also, it was talking about the A variant of the HE177, so take everything with a little bit of a pinch of salt. What is the Fritz-X bomber? Bomb. It's pretty much a guided bomb. That's the way to see it. Once you release it from your aircraft, unfortunately I wasn't able to get any footage of it on the dev server, but if it is up again I will make sure to do it, and if it comes to live I'll make sure to make a quick video, kind of like how I did the rocket boosters video for you, to make sure that you understand what it's like. But yeah, it's a guided bomb. You sit in the bombing site and you guide it towards a target using specific controls that you set up in the control section for at least PC. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work for PS4, and I have no idea how it's going to work for Xbox. What is kind of surprising, it even mentions it here in this section. So what we'll do is we'll read through it, because it's really interesting stuff. One of the preliminary ideas which eventually got ironed out with missiles and guided bombs that we have today. The PC-1400X, or the Fritz-X, isn't just the first guided bomb in our game, but the first bomb accepted into service that was used in combat conditions to destroy a surface target. The German scientist and inventor Max Kramer began developing a means to increase the accuracy of aerial bombs back in 1938. The engineer insisted that to achieve high accuracy, the bomb must be equipped with remote control. After the arrival of Dr. Kramer to the science laboratories, I'm going to say that the British way, laboratories of the Rushtal company, The warhead of the PC-1400 Fritz bomb was selected as a basis for the new bomb. By the beginning of 1942, the first prototype models of the experimental Fritz-X guided bomb were delivered to the Peenemünde training ground, and a few weeks later, tests were performed in Italy. The test showed that the bomb's variance was under 28 meters, and in 1943, the wonder weapon was put into service. And let's just put that into perspective. Before we had, well, around about 1943, the Americans did have their incredible bombing sites, which were top secrets. They were designed to be destroyed if the aircraft was ever put down. They were so top secret they didn't want anybody else getting a hold of them because they were insanely accurate with what they were doing. Now, 28 meters is also insanely accurate, but obviously that is in a testing environment, not an actual operational environment. When it came to the B-17s, the B-29s, and all of the other American bombers, what was found was in a live environment, not just a test environment. They were incredibly accurate as well. And it's pretty much, do you prefer human accuracy with human error, or do you want machine accuracy with a bit of human error as well, since it has to be controlled? In total, 1,386 PC-1400X Fritz-X bombs were produced, and 108 bombs were dropped in combat conditions. The first was the very famous episode of German bombers using the Fritz-X to attack the Italian Navy while it was on its way to Malta to surrender to the Allies. As a result of the attack from a height of 4,000 to 5,000 meters, the battleship Italia took one hit and one nearby explosion, but survived. The battleship Roma was less lucky. The first bomb broke through the battleship's deck to the starboard right of her main turrets, penetrating right through her hull and exploding below the keel. The second bomb hit the central main gun turret and exploded beneath the bow turbine compartment. As a result, the gun magazines detonated and the Roma was destroyed. I also believe there was a British ship which was hit with one of these, but it wasn't killed. It was just put into inactive repair for about a year. So we're talking about some decent, decent bombs here, not something which your average, if a ship gets hit by, let's say, a 500 kilo, and sometimes it'll do a decent amount of damage, but the main thing with the Fritz bombs was the accuracy behind them, and also the fact that they had the penetrating capabilities, so it wasn't just high explosive, it was designed to hit, dig, boom, kind of very similar to how you see the Japanese AP bombs. On top of this, what was found, I remember reading about in testing in 1943 and 1942 of this bomb, was the fact that you needed to drop it from insane heights. And by insane heights, what I mean is 4,000 to 5,000 meters. Now, in World War II, those heights, they're not that insane. In War Thunder, they kind of are, meaning that you have to stay at that altitude, go across the battlefield, stay in the bomber's sight while you are dropping this bomb. So you're going to have to need a lot of time to be able to do this. Generally, when you are bombing, you spend maybe 2 to 3, 5 seconds if you're good at bombing in the bombing site, setting up a target, drop all your bombs on a target, then either move to the next one or go back to the airfield. With the Fritz-X, you are stuck in the bombardier site, meaning that it is up to your gunners when it comes to trying to stave off the enemies. You have to wait for your AI gunners to be able to stave them off instead of you doing it yourself. So the survivability of machines which are using the Fritz-X, you have to make sure that you are free to use it for a good at least half a minute, instead of a situation where you only have to be in the bomb site for, let's say, 3 to 5 seconds, and then you can get back to defending yourself. You have to stay in a decent, constant, arc. You have to do all of this stuff instead of just kind of firing and forgetting, or bombing and forgetting, I suppose. The Fritz-X is a guided armor-piercing bomb weighing 1,570 kilos. With an explosive content of around 320 kilos, the bomb was equipped with duralumin fins and a stabilizer. It also had a set of radio equipment. The bomb was guided by radio signal from an aircraft using a special joystick. The bomb's flight could be tracked and its course corrected through the bomb's sight. bright tracing lights lit up in the tail section of the bombs after launch. Now, if you haven't seen any of these from the dev server, I highly recommend it. I believe Fly Daily made a video on it, and also Iron Armenian did. These are videos which showcase how the bombs work. It's incredibly interesting how they've modeled them in War Thunder, and I've got to say they've done a pretty damn good job at it. In our game, the Fritz-X bomb will arrive in update 1.79 Project X, and for now it will be accessible on two bombers, the HE-177 and the Heinkel H-6. Interesting. The guiding system allows the bomb's flight course to be corrected slightly. It is suitable for destroying larger ships. Particularly skilled pilots can even try to destroy tanks with the bomb, and even an indirect hit will be an unpleasant surprise. So, with this said, this bomb is obviously more designed to annihilate ships. Now, is there many maps that Germany finds itself where there are a ton of ships? Well, you have Norway, and that's really about it. There are some maps where if they get into mixed battles, maybe they end up in the Pacific, where this will be useful. I know the Japanese had a kind of at least prototype version of this type of bomb, like a guided bomb, so maybe when that gets added, what we're going to have is a bigger impact where they're able to annihilate carriers and stuff like that. Instead of just being limited to one map such as Norway, the majority of the Japanese maps have something to say about, annihilating naval stuff. Now, the Americans also had a guided bomb around this time. I can't remember its exact name. All I know is that it worked. So, this is the first step with a new mechanic, which is going to be tested with a few aircraft, and then it's going to expand. If I was going to hazard a guess, I would say it's going to expand to the Americans and the Japanese next, and then the British and the Soviets after, if they don't do them all at once. Because at some point in history, all of the nations that we have in the game did create a form of this bomb. So overall, it'll be nice to see. Will this thing take over the game? No, I highly doubt it. In ground forces, the heavy bomber meta is non-existent. What people play is either attackers, dive bombers, or fighters, which have access to ordnance, because they can fight afterwards, and also they can get away from AA. The issue with taking a HE-177 into, let's say, a ground forces battle where you're running the Panther, the Ersatz M10, and the Tiger E, is the fact that when you take it in, you're such a large target for either Soviet AA, American AA, or even sometimes British AA if somebody has decided to take the Crusader AA Mark I and is starting to tie a noose. So with that said, are these things going to have a big impact in like ground forces? Well, first of all, you need the height, and second of all, you need to not get shot, so that ain't going to happen. So these are going to have an effect in air realistic, probably in the first few weeks. If they are overtuned, or if they are really easy to control and do a lot of damage, then we'll see them keep in the meta, just like the HE-177 with its impressive bomb load has, and then we'll see like a tuning effect. If they're not that effective, then unfortunately we won't see them that much. Hopefully we do though, because it's always nice to see new mechanics come to the forefront in War Thunder, and this is one of those new interesting mechanics. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.